What is up, guys? It is As Josh Sees It. I want to welcome you guys back to the channel. So as you can see, we are here at, and we were going to shoot a bunch of content today, but that didn't work out because we got kicked out halfway through filming. Alright guys, well, welcome back to the channel. As I mentioned, it is As Josh Sees It, and today we were actually on our way to go shoot our very first Ride Motos video here with Steve Freeman. And today we're going to look at the brand new 2023 lineup of Harley-Davidson motorcycles, and we got kicked out halfway through filming. Man, I'll tell you guys, at this point, Harley-Davidson is making it difficult for me to love them as a brand. So for those of you guys that don't know, or those of you guys that have been watching the channel for a while now, I'm sure that you remember I have ridden Harley-Davidson motorcycles most of my life. I've ridden Harleys more than I've ridden any other type of motorcycle. My first bike was a Harley-Davidson Sportster. I love the brand of Harley-Davidson, but I gotta tell you guys, I'm starting to love them less and less recently. So basically the backstory for this is me and my business partner Steve Freeman over here recently launched a motorcycle media content hub called Ride Motos. That's ridemotos.com, or you can find us on social media at Ride Motos Official. And we were launching our first ever video today, and that was going to be on the 2023 lineup of the new Harley-Davidson motorcycles. We were going to look at the brand new colors, some of the new motorcycles they had, all of that kind of stuff. Reached out to a dealership, obviously wanted to be respectful, and before we just showed up with cameras and started filming things, wanted to get the proper permission. So reached out to a dealership in the Southern California area. Frankly, they said no, and they weren't interested. So I kind of felt like that was a little bit weird, because honestly we were willing to throw them promotion and kind of work with them together, but that was neither here nor there. You know, it's obviously their choice as a private business to do what they want. So we moved on and reached out to a friend of mine over at and kind of told them a little bit about what we were doing, the scope of what we were going to be doing. And I'll say, we weren't going to bring a bunch of lights, and it wasn't going to be all these boom mics and everything. Literally single cameras. We were going to come in with microphones, shoot a really good content video. They said, yeah, sure, we'd love to have you guys. We'd love to work with you. And so we got there. We started walking around, kind of getting a lay of the land. And then the problems came when we started shooting with the actual camera. So basically, without getting into too many of the details, general manager there at the Harley-Davidson dealership was a little bit startled and I guess caught by surprise, and didn't want us filming. They are in the middle of, they're actually hosting an open house of their new 2023 model lineup. There was tables and chairs out front. They're giving away free food. It was kind of this big community event, and so we felt like we wanted to go showcase not just the Harley-Davidson motorcycles, but also the community of people in Harley, and kind of show like, hey, this is a whole entire tribe of people. And one of the things that we talked about early in the Ride Motos official video is that Harley-Davidson as a brand has one of the coolest brands on the market. I mean, there's no getting around that. So they might have some of the most expensive motorcycles on the market, and they might not be the most tech savvy of all of the motorcycle manufacturers, but they do have a really strong community. And so one of the things that we wanted to talk about in this video was the community of people themselves, and just kind of showcase that, look, Harley-Davidson as a brand is more than the motorcycles they are putting out. But unfortunately, the general manager didn't agree with that and didn't actually want us out there filming for the day. And so he basically told us, look, you can't film today, but you can come back at a different day and we can arrange a time where we get all the different departments together and kind of almost manufacture this stage and scene. And honestly, that's not what we really wanted to do. We wanted to get an accurate representation of the Harley-Davidson community. We wanted to show you guys exactly what it was, the different types of people, shoot the motorcycles along the way. But Harley-Davidson, at least this particular dealership, obviously didn't want that, which is odd to me, because this The entire point, at least from the outside looking in, of having this kind of community event, this open house, was to bring people together, was to have community and showcase this. And what we kind of realized was, look, at the end of the day, it seems like what we were going to do with shooting our video and showcasing things was going to kind of be a distraction away from what was the obvious point and the purpose of the event that they had, and that was to sell motorcycles. So it was a little bit of a letdown for us, and honestly a little bit of a letdown for me personally, because the brand of Harley-Davidson that I came to love, the brand that I had my first motorcycle experience on, my first 4 motorcycles, is not necessarily the brand that I want to be involved with in the future. Which is really hard. I mean, it seems like Harley-Davidson, at least this particular dealership, and I know there's actually, I'll say, not even this particular dealership, most of the dealerships in our area and most of the dealerships that I experience are more interested in making a motorcycle sale than building this community of motorcycle riders. And that's a shift. That's something that has not always been the case for Harley-Davidson, and I will say that with their motorcycles being the most expensive motorcycles on the market for any brand, and as well, their motorcycles really have a lot of catching up to do in the horsepower, in the bells and whistles, in the electronics, in the suspension. Harley-Davidson is going to need to rely on something other than just its heritage if it hopes to stay alive in the future. One of the things that Harley-Davidson has always prized itself on is its strong community of riders that it has. And at least for somebody right now like myself, who is a content creator and is, you know, maybe thinking about getting back in the Harley-Davidson community, to have an experience like that and I guess be treated like that just feels like they don't really want our business. And then frankly, you know, there is something that I would be amiss if I didn't talk to you guys about here on the channel, and that is the markup that most Harley-Davidson dealerships are doing right now. So I was looking at a motorcycle just in this Harley-Davidson dealership before we got kicked out of the dealership, and it was their brand new 2023 Road Glide Limited, and the bike is already expensive. It's a $35,000 motorcycle, which is already at the very, very, very top of bikes in that class. And most dealerships today are marking these bikes up about $6,000 to $7,000 above MSRP. Guys, that's a 20% markup on a motorcycle. That is absolutely crazy, not to mention that where our country is at and the cost of borrowing money, I'm pretty sure that Tier 1 interest from Harley-Davidson Financial Services, Tier 1, is over 10% right now. It's like 10.71% or something when I looked on the website a couple days ago. So not only is the bike the highest bike price out of any of the other bikes in its class at $35,000, it has a $7,000 markup, which is 20%, and then on top of that, you are financing that whopping $42,000 motorcycle at a 10% APR over the course of however many months that you choose to schedule out that loan. I mean, honestly, guys, these are like, you know, now all of a sudden you're into motorcycles for $700-800 a month. That's more than most car payments. It's no longer a toy that you kind of have on the side. I mean, these are major life decisions that people are having to make, and it's a no wonder that all while Harley-Davidson Motor Company is having some of its slowest years that it has had. It's no wonder that Harley-Davidson as a brand is really struggling to not only capture a younger core demographic, but also struggling a little bit with its identity right now. I mean, you have kind of a mixture of some of the newer bikes like the Sportster S and then the Pan America that are utilizing kind of brand new engines, has a lot of technology that's incorporated into the bikes, albeit some of that stuff is riddled with problems. And for some examples of that, go ahead and check out Steve Freeman's video on his Pan America that has just had problem after problem after problem and electrical issues. But all that aside, they have these bikes that are kind of newer, they're pushing the envelope, but then they still have a lot of the older lineup of motorcycles that are obviously appealing to a much different demographic. So all of those things kind of together, for me, it's really hard to love the Harley-Davidson Motor Company brand as much as I did when I was an early rider, especially when you have other motorcycle companies that are making really, really good motorcycles that have better power, better suspension, better electronics, better ergonomics, better support, better parts availability, and a whole lot less expensive of a price. Harley-Davidson, you have the coolest brand. Nobody is arguing with that. Hats off to you. People get Harley-Davidson tattoos. They do not get Honda or Kawasaki tattoos, and there is something to be said for that. However, I don't think that legacy brand equity is enough to sustain themselves into the future, and they're going to have to do something different. And at the end of the day, even if Harley-Davidson Motor Company does something different entirely and they change their philosophy, if that philosophy doesn't trickle down to the dealerships themselves and people are feeling good about the way that they are treated in these dealerships, they're getting a fair price, they're not getting these crazy dealership markups, they're not paying more on APR than they actually qualified for in the banks. If that experience isn't dialed in and really, really taken care of, Harley-Davidson as a brand, unfortunately, will not make it in the modern world. And I'm sorry to say that. So guys, sorry, I know this is a bit of a downer video, but I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on what you think about Harley-Davidson motorcycles and the future of the motor company. If you guys have liked this video, please like it, give the channel a subscribe, and if you guys haven't already, go make sure you follow us on Ride Motos. That is ridemotos.com, at Ride Motos Official. We are on Instagram, YouTube. We have our website. Follow Steve Freeman at the Steve Freeman. Thank you guys so much for tuning along for the journey. Who knows, maybe in the future we'll get to put eyes on some of the 2023 model lineup in real life and film some stuff. But until then, until we meet again, peace.